take it day to day with him right now. Pretty good.
Do you expect Cheeto to be able to practice today?
He'll be the same. No, we'll just limit him with the trainers.
This will be the first time you played Seattle since the first game. Is there anything throughout the week when you reflect on kind of what it's been like from then to now? I mean, what's that thought process like as you prepare? Allow yourself to go through an overview of what's happened since then?
No, really. I mean, it feels like a long time ago. I remember how I felt during the game just when I get asked the question. Aside from being asked about it, I guess that was a Monday maybe press conference. It doesn't ever cross my mind, to be honest with you. You're just focused on what they do schematically and how to find a way to get a win.
When you look at kind of the transformation of y'all as a staff or you and kind of the things that have been here from then to now, what's the thing that maybe gives you the most joy or pride in kind of how you operate or maybe things you didn't know about back then or what you would have done back then?
Just the cohesion of our staff and our team. I think just how well people play off each other and benefit from having each other around. We got really good coaches, really smart coaches that treat people the right way. Same with the players, same with the support staff. And so I think just over the 5 years, those are things that stand out to me that you wouldn't have been able to predict 5 years ago. It's just how well everybody would come together to make this thing better than we could do individually.
For T, is it a functionality along with pain tolerance?
Yeah, we'll just each day that passes, we'll sort through where he's at, how it feels, and if it's a benefit to have him going.
Do you weigh that the bye week was right after?
It really am just taking it day to day and just we'll sort through kind of how he feels.
How big would it be to get to go into the bye week being at 500 and getting a win against a team in the ball game, Seattle?
I think just going to the bye with a win, being 1-0 this week is what we focus on. That was our team meeting is let's have the best Wednesday we've had. And that's all we can handle right now. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about Friday. Let's do a great job with our walkthrough and our mechanics of how we want to do everything this week. And I think our guys anticipating having a really good practice today.
Does your relationship with the Seahawks OC from your time with the Rams help you at all in terms of, obviously I know you're not coordinating the defense, but information you share with Lou, or is it completely different because of their personnel?
Yeah, I've told him everything Shane's ever told me. Lou knows, and no, I'm just kidding. That's overstated. Great relationship. We've I've watched more leading up to this week of Seattle's offense than their defense, just because of the crossover tape. When they're playing the Rams or whoever, we're seeing the Rams defense, but Seattle's offense is kind of what I've been seeing. So, he's Shane's done a great job. That's no surprise. He's done an excellent job, putting all those guys together and having great schematics and putting defenses in a bind, and not a surprise at all.
I asked you about Trenton with T out on Sunday. How did DJ Turner play when you went back and watched him?
Yeah, good. DJ's done some really good things for him. We've been able to incorporate him a lot over the course of the season. His role obviously increased the other day, and again, I just think for a young player, he's getting a lot of benefits from the reps and experience he's getting in these games.
Why did you and Shane become such good friends? I mean, obviously on the same staff, but what was it? Do you guys see the game similarly, or what was it about?
Yeah, I think that just where we're at in our lives. I enjoyed being around him. Our wives were really good friends. Our kids were the same age. We both lived right by the facility. He's one of the guys I probably talk to as much as anybody aside from my brother in this league. And so, again, we just get along great, got a lot of respect for him, how he handles his business, and cool to see him doing great things in Seattle. Again, not surprised at all.
You talked this week, or is that off?
We haven't talked. Yeah, no, we haven't talked. He sent me a picture last week inferring that he was watching tape last Tuesday of us, and I said that's not legal. We're still playing games. You're not allowed to do that on your bye week. But I think that's the last we spoke.
And that would probably be it until you see him, maybe?
Yeah.
In 12 in Miami, you were preparing for a rookie, Bobby Wagner, and here he is again. Why is he still so effective?
Say that one more time.
In 12 in Miami, you were preparing for Bobby Wagner, just a rookie then. Here he is, he's still around, still effective. Why is he still this good?
Oh, he's instinctive, incredibly smart, incredibly instinctive, physical, knows all the strengths and weaknesses of the coverage that they're in at the moment. You can see him anticipate calls. He's clearly got a good understanding of runs and tendencies and tells, and and great communicator. Makes those around him better. That's very clear. They have great talent, and he's one of those guys that's kind of a force multiplier. He makes everybody around him better. You can see him communicating after plays, and we felt that last year. He came here for practice with the Rams, so you got to see him then, and I don't know what, played him 5 times before that, I guess, 4 times when I was at the Rams, and once in Miami, I think. Tremendous player. Got a lot of respect for him. There's a reason he's had the career he's had.
You guys are playing DJ, Jordan, Cam, and Dax are young. Like, what are the challenges that young defensive backs have to learn to become more comfortable in the league?
Well, I mean, you gain so much experience with knowledge, and you can coach it up and show them the clips of it happening around the league or it happening to past years of us. But until you get out there and you have to make that split-second decision or see it for the first time, it's like anything. You continue to experience your own things, and you try your best to learn it. But there's no teacher greater than just the experiences you have, and we're seeing guys, get better and better with every rep that they get.
I'm talking about playing Wagner, and then you've got 2 guys, Pratt and Wilson.
Yeah.
Do you see any common denominators there
Oh, yeah.
with the young Wagner, with these 2 guys?
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend like I remember Bobby Wagner 11 years ago play the pass. They're a really, really impressive duo.
You saw Geno Smith at the beginning of his career. What do you make of his pretty remarkable late career renaissance?
Lou and I were talking about that. That was a decade ago. We played against him at the Jets a decade ago, and I don't know if that's one of those moments that makes me feel really old. I remember his pro day. Golly, who was the Winky was working him out at the pro day, with Tavon Austin and all those guys, and that was a long time ago, and like all these players, they continue to improve, as they go, and it's really impressive the job that Geno's done there in Seattle. You can just tell the leadership that he's got, and does a great job understanding their offense and throwing with great anticipation and touch, and doing a really good job attacking defenses. And he's done a great job there these last 2 years.
One thing, Zach, that Lou said to us about Geno was that he's just more consistent. Doesn't make maybe the same mistakes he did earlier in his career. Is there anything else you see in his game that has helped him, like you said, progress?
I just see a really talented veteran and a guy that plays with a lot of poise, does a good job of leading his team, does a good job creating, puts the ball where it needs to be put, understands the defenses he's attacking. I don't even remember who he played with in New York, who the coach was, what the scheme was. You never know, for young players that come in the league, you just never know what the situation is. And maybe this was always
A lot of different staffs. Do you think there is something to that maybe?
Just generally speaking, sure. It's no 2 situations, no approach that someone's taken is ever the same. And so, again, everyone's going to make a decision on somebody quickly of whether they can do it or not. You're fortunate for some guys to get more opportunity and show this is what I am, and whether that's just from learning from experiences or being a better. I have no idea, But every player is different, and just generally speaking, it's guys are going to get better with experience. And kind of rambling. I don't know where I'm going with that one, but
Zach, on the young DBs again, do you feel from your view that maybe Lou has softened his stance on playing young DBs than what it maybe used to be? He's seen a lot more out there than we've seen in the past, and willingness, it seems like.
Well, yeah, and that's just what our roster is right now, But I think our roster is what it is because we have trust in those guys, and they've earned the opportunity to be on the roster and be out there on the field. And your youngest player you've got out there right now is DJ Turner, and I thought he had a tremendous training camp. So every opportunity he got, it wasn't always perfect, but man, you saw him just make a lot of plays on the ball, and so then that creates more opportunity for him. Obviously, Cheeto being out helped out as well. Then he took it and ran with it. Same with Cam Taylor-Britt last year, took an opportunity and ran with it. And so those guys, you don't know until you see them out there and you throw them in the fire, and I think some good things have happened because of that.
What stands out about Woolen and Witherspoon in their secondary?
Yeah, both those guys have missed games so far, so there's a lot of moving parts in their secondary over the first 4 weeks, and you can tell physical. They've got great size and physicality. They both can run. They both seem to have great awareness of what's coming at them. You watch the picks from last year from Olin. You watch Witherspoon this year. He's played in the slot. He's played outside. Those guys just do a really good job playing to their strengths, and they're really talented players. Like that's what you see is this is starting to shift back to 2012 Seattle style. It's you can see all the pieces coming back in there, and I haven't seen them in a couple of years, so I don't know what they've really been. But when I watch the tape, it's reminiscent of a lot of those really great defenses. That's where they're at right now.
Would it be fair to say that Seattle's kind of like, given their consistency with Carroll, they're kind of like the NFC version of Baltimore, the way they play, style? Is it like getting ready for the Ravens?
It's playing against a really good team. They do a good job. I think the first in the league against the run, and they do a good job. So maybe teams have thrown the ball a little bit more, and so the statistics aren't quite as high as their run defense, but they're really good on the back end. And that linebacker, and they're very aware, and they do a great job communicating, and they've had a lot of success. That's why they're 3-1. And they've beaten good teams, and so it's going to be a real challenge for our team on Sunday.
Getting back to Cam Taylor Britt for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Other than the fact that he's a former Cornhusker, what do you like about coaching?
Loves ball, loves being out there on the grass. Same energy every single day. So again, Cam's going to bring the energy, and whether you're around him in the locker room, the meeting rooms, pregame, practice, walkthrough, he's a guy you can count on. And you need those guys, you need those energy guys in your team that can bring everybody up. And some guys that's just not their personality. That's Cam's personality. And I knew that when we got him from Nebraska. And he's been every bit of that since he's been here in our building.
Surprising that in year 2, he's the one giving the pregame or the tunnel pep talk to a lot of the guys. Is that surprising to you?
I didn't know that. Yeah, I stay away from the pregame player talk, so I couldn't tell you who talks.
With Jamal Adams, I know it's been limited what he can do in Seattle, but is he unique in preparing for it because of all that he can do, and then the fact that he really hasn't played much? Like, do you prepare more for Seattle's defensive scheme, or do you have to go back into the files of what he was able to do in New York?
I know what he can do. We've played against him before, so you're very aware, and you have to prepare for the full scope of their defense and all the things that they're capable of, and they got a lot of good personnel they can utilize. And one of the benefits from not having him and not having Tariq and not having Witherspoon and Kobe Bryant being out is guys have moved around and played a bunch of different spots and gained experience. And so now, as I'm sure they're getting back to fully healthy, it gives them a lot of ways they can utilize guys. And so we've got to be ready to prepare the way we got to prepare, and then be ready to pivot during the game if all of a sudden something starts happening that maybe we didn't prioritize or think they were going to do as much of.
There's been a lot of talk about Trent this week. Like, how do you view your practice squad receivers as guys who can maybe in a year, 2 years, or whatever step up into the kind of role Trent has? What do you look for when you kind of build that practice squad?
You got to have the trust first of all. So they got to have a trait that you're excited about. And some guys it's maybe their speed. Some guys it's they catch everything that's thrown to them. Some guys it's their knowledge of all three positions, because as a backup receiver, that's what you got to be able to do. Sometimes it's value on special teams as well, combined with some of the traits they got as a receiver. So there's a lot of different things that you got to look for. Obviously, you're assessing these guys over training camp. A guy like Kenrick, we're assessing on last year's training camp, and we get a chance now to kind of be picky with the guys we want to keep around at receiver, and we feel like we've got a good group of those guys with Stanley, with Kwame, with Kenrick, and so feel good about where we're at. Feel like they all bring value, and they could all be up on game day, and we know what we're going to get out of those guys. We try our best to put them in situations in practice where you continue to put pressure on them. We put them in some one-on-one situations against the DBs, and obviously we're always evaluating what they're doing on the scout team, giving looks. And so those guys have plenty of opportunity to show what they can do, and I think we got a really good group.
Pressure that they put on the quarterbacks, there's 16 sacks by 10 different people, and nobody has more than 2 sacks. You get 4 down linemen, 4 linebackers, 2 DBs with 2 sacks apiece. Get to the 10. So obviously it's their scheme. They're bringing them from everywhere. This communication going to be a big deal.
Absolutely, and just doing it, just blocking it up, and that's a big part of playing Seattle is their physicality and their movement and the different looks they can give you. And they've done a great job of that through 4 weeks, putting a lot of pressure on quarterbacks, putting a lot of pressure on the run game. And again, that's why they're having a successful season so far.
Joe, getting Chase Brown, a play here and a play there, what are you kind of hoping his role can evolve into?
Yeah, he's done a good job, and he hasn't had a lot of opportunities come at him. part of that is Mixon's played really well for us. And you don't always want to pull away from that. So we just, we put some plays in with his name on it, same with Travion. And if opportunity comes their way, that play gets dialed up, they got to be ready to go. And so far those guys have done what we've asked them to do. And so again, it's nothing maybe that he's done that hasn't given him a lot of chances. It's more just the opportunity hasn't been there for him yet.
A week ago, the game plan, there was at least a lot of discussion outside of the building about how you plan around Joe Burrow's calf. We haven't asked you, I think, about Joe in 16 minutes. Is that a topic still, or a thought as far as your plan offensively, how he is, how mobile he might be or not be on Sunday?
Yeah, it's more about Seattle. When we factor in how do we want to attack Seattle, and what does that look like, not just for Joe but for the entirety of the offense. And so those are the conversations we really have over the last 48 hours as we put the whole plan together.
You had some sets that you incorporated it last week, and how does the pistol, the RPOs evolve what you're doing offensively?
We're willing to do whatever it takes to be successful, and so again, there's some things maybe we have less experience doing that we've taken a look at that'll continue to be a big part of what we do or not, and so again, it's every week we just go into Monday and Tuesday, how can we put our guys in the best position possible to be successful and get the ball in the end zone? That's it, and no egos, no nothing. Sometimes it's going to work out where Jamar gets 15 touches, sometimes it won't, and so again, I think that we take a lot of pride in taking the ego out of the equation and just doing schematically what puts our guys in the best position that gives us a chance. And if that's pistol, that's pistol. If it's RPOs, it's RPOs. If it's lining up under center 95% of the game, it's lining up under center 95% of the game. So we'll see what happens this week.
Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realize self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.